Croeso, hello, welcome to Rob, Ryan, Red. Welcome to Vancouver pre-season tour special edition of the podcast today. Myself and Nate have 34,000 steps. Our kind host has taken us around Vancouver in his apartment right now. We've just been to a fireworks show. You might have seen that on the vlogs if you haven't already. If you listen to this on the audio version, we're putting daily vlogs out while we're here in Vancouver on YouTube, so please do check them out if you haven't already. I was in a bad mood on day one. I'm in a much better mood now. We've watched Wrexham as well. It's been a fun trip so far, hasn't it?
Yes. I feel like I'm not going to be able to walk tomorrow, so lots to do on those daily vlogs, as you said. I mean, we've gate crashed a Vancouverite. Is that what we call them? Vancouverite, maybe?
Yeah,
Vancouveran. Their apartment to record the podcast. So we'll see how this turns out. Last time I gate crashed someone's house for North Carolina away. Didn't turn out too good.
One of the worst podcasts of all time, wasn't it?
Well, it was one of the best because you weren't on it probably, but no good outside. So we'll give this a go. Lots to get into. Obviously, third kit ordered for myself, as people saw on the vlog. Woke up at 1 a.m. and then fell asleep in the queue.
Yeah,
and got it in the morning.
That's the other thing. We're recording this at 11 p.m. Vancouver time, so apologies if you are listening to the podcast. It's not come out the time you actually want to typically listen to it. We've also got to wake up. I now really do sympathise with North American fans because I've got two a.m. starts in a row now to get Sheffield United tickets and then Bolton tickets. So that is going to be, a real test of my endurance, of my fitness, of my.
And you are an early bird. Normally, you are a go to bed on a good time. You're not a crazy night owl like me and other people. So 2 a.m. for you is a real.
It's going to be a
sacrifice, a real test.
I could be in a very bad mood tomorrow morning, let's put it that way. But Chelsea, first game we watched today. Similar to the Bournemouth game in the way that we played. I thought it was lots of work out of possession. Different to what we've seen so far under Parkinson, really, because we've been so privileged of being the team who usually dictate and dominate matches. So we've been playing on the break, playing lots of counter-attacking football. And it's been interesting just from that tactical point of view, hasn't it? Seeing Wrexham as a defensive team, but two very encouraging performances against two Premier League teams and unbeaten in both of those matches.
Yeah, really encouraging. I mean, I was, like I said, at the North Carolina Chelsea game where it wasn't close. It was a really stark in comparison, and I don't know exactly how many players were the same there, but it was a good core number on both sides. Probably, I think
I might research that.
You can even have a look. I think there were quite a few on both sides. It felt like. And it was just really, really stark in the difference. And I remember just sitting there thinking, wow, we're a million miles off. Yes, we've improved our quality. They made a lot of changes. They made a full 11 changes, their first game of pre-season. New manager again. I think it was Pochettino's first game, so new manager then. But this was a lot more encouraging, I think, as you're showing me the
team from a year ago. Yeah, so, I mean, there was a lot of change from Wrexham. Is that three players who kept their place? Lee, Cannon and Jones, the only ones who survived from the 5-0.
Who started? But then obviously you think like Dolby came on, Ford came on, O'Connor played. So a few changes.
So we lost 5-0 to Chelsea last pre-season.
Right, and my point being that it was a massive gap. They were obviously Premier League, we were in League 2 then. But yeah, I think this one was really encouraging. 2-2. Their first goal, we'd say disappointing, just the way the ball broke in terms of more so, that happens. The ball breaks to Nkunku in the box. I wasn't a massive fan of zonal marking, and I kind of hope that when we get to the season, that's not going to be the trend.
Maybe that's the way we're going to mark ourselves up against these bigger teams. I think
maybe, but
I'm not saying in the league, but if you've got a cup game against a team
for sure.
And so we watched when the halftime highlights came in. It was essentially James McLean and Levi Colwill having this altercation after 2 minutes where James McLean does what James McLean does because he only has one sort of volume he can play at. He leaves something on Colwill, who had serious injury issues last season, so he's understandably ticked off by being caught late. There's quite an epic scramble between both of them, getting each other by the.
I mean, it's up there.
By the swift.
It's got to be up there.
Neither of them get booked for it, and then it's sort of just a bombardment of Chelsea corners. There about 5 or 6 in the first half, and that's where most of the chances seem to come from. It was just disappointing the way the goal came about, but
I think that those but there'll be goals like that during the season where it just falls to you at the other end, and Mullin can slot in or whoever, and Lee, and that'll go in our favour. And there'll be ones that they just break to get a ricochet off. I don't even know which defender it came off now, but it bounced off one player, and then Nkunku's not going to miss for whatever he's worth, £50 million. And I thought we responded really well, actually. I thought Dobson was probably a real standout. I think he was he looked a bit off the pace, I thought, in the Bournemouth game. Just didn't quite look there fitness-wise. Really took a step forward, I thought, today, and played over the 60 minutes, I think. I can't remember.
I think he got to 65.
Yeah,
or so.
So he got some real minutes in the tank. Great ball, one stage for McLean that he played through. Ravan, we've been looking for him to start. Where does he sort of fit into the jigsaw? He looked really good, I thought, as well. There were positives, and really Chelsea had to get that late goal, which is a really good finish, low into the bottom corner. But Wrexham drew with Chelsea, who, for whatever people want to say, new manager and all this and that, they're still a very, very good team worth 200 plus million. And Bournemouth, very well run. A lot of people saying that they might be able to push for top half, maybe might push for Europe, maybe the bottom end of. So yeah, Wrexham more than equipped themselves well on. And what we'll say about Bournemouth, the pitch in that game was absolutely horrendous, beyond belief. Like that was like something out of the Euros that we saw in Germany. So got through. No major injury scares. Tom O'Connor got his first minutes against Chelsea. Real positives, I thought.
Yeah, it's encouraging. Again, like I said, I think Bournemouth, the team that sides like Wrexham and clubs like Wrexham should be modelling themselves on, and that's an encouraging one. What for me is most encouraging is the draw against Bournemouth and the draw against Chelsea were both deserved results by full time. I did think the first half against Chelsea was very much backs against the wall. Like I said, it was interesting to see us actually have to do so much defensive work off the ball, out of possession. Second half, we really went for Chelsea. They made wholesale changes at half time. I think they changed every single player. So their shape suffered for that, and they didn't have the same sort of tempo that we did when we came out the blocks flying, and we thoroughly deserved that. And Luke Bolton gets his first Wrexham goal.
Yeah,
interesting to see, because we were speaking during the game. We still think Barnett is probably first choice on the right
for sure
going to the new season.
Yeah, definitely so.
Jack Marriott, I know he's maybe not the most popular Wrexham sign at the moment.
Not in the room. Not the most popular sign in the room at the moment. But yeah, great goal. Great goal.
Good goal.
Brilliant
such
goal.
a good finish. And, it's going to be really interesting to see how that dynamic works this season, because we love a cliche, we love a catchphrase on here, but he could be like that new signing. He could be the striker sign we're crying out for.
Right.
We've already got him in Jack Marriott, because that goal it's a very good goal, but it's pre-season.
It's one of them where I think I was thinking about it earlier and thinking about that when Mullin scored that penalty against Forest Green, and that was kind of the goal that just recalibrated everything, and then from there he was lights out, and if we'd have had another few weeks could have got the golden boot. Really just took off from there, and really gave the team lift off from there. I think with Marriott, this goal will either be huge and he goes on and plays really well, and we'll see him here, no doubt, against the Whitecaps, whether it's for an hour or for half an hour, whatever he gets. If he scores again there, you then go back to Fleetwood. He'll be very motivated against his old team in Fleetwood at the racecourse, and suddenly it's Wickham. You'll need him to play there. You know what I mean? And suddenly it's this like snowball effect. He scored 3 goals in 4 games, 2 goals in 4 games, and different player. And his goal against Forest Green right at the back end of last season, kind of the season had died out by then. We saw him at Crewe, but it was party time. We'd already won the league, and there was no chance for momentum to be built up. But he's going to get at least 4 games Mullin out. Mullin's going to miss August, you would say. So this is a potentially huge goal. A great finish. Whether it is or it isn't, if it doesn't go on to mean anything, it was still a great finish, great move, and can only do him the world of good coming to Vancouver next.
I guess that's the caveat of last season for him, isn't it? That he came into a side that was already successful. He's not ultimately going to be trusted ahead of the other guys to start matches. If he's thrown on in a game, it either means we've won it, so there's no sort of jeopardy, or we desperately need a goal, so the stakes are unfairly high on him because he has to basically score to make the impact we want. So it's going to be interesting to see how he takes it. Dobson, again, you said we weren't quite sure what midfielder he was maybe after the Bournemouth game. Today, for me, he looked like that sort of Jay Harris again. He looks, I don't want to get Ivan Toney on this, but he looks like a sure bet to be a yellow card in every single game he plays.
For sure.
He could have been sent off today because on a yellow, just before he got subbed off.
Ben Chilwell was like looking for the yellow, looking to get the second yellow. So
he looks like one of these players who just loves a tackle, doesn't he?
So you get banned after, I think, is it 5 games or 1 match ban after 5 yellows? I'm giving it 7 games, I reckon. 5 in 7. It just feels like a yellow card machine, but I feel like he'll at least get stuck in, and everyone can get behind that.
Yeah,
you probably can't get behind. If anything, it'll make James McLean look like really, really good.
He's going to be the well-behaved player in the team, isn't he? But it was interesting as well today that he played up front, didn't he, for the first half?
That was
moved to left wing back the second half, where he played well again. But played just off Palmer, similar to, was that Swindon when he played up front?
Yeah, Swindon. I'm trying to think who Mullin missed that game through illness, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe that was Mullin and maybe that was McLean and Palmer. I can't fully remember, but McLean played well that day up top. I think we had contrasting opinions on how he got on. I mean, he's not going to play.
I thought he was arguably the best player on the pitch, which I know you don't agree with.
I was staggered by that opinion, but I mean, we're all entitled to, and that's the beauty of it.
And some people have wrong opinions.
Yeah, and I'm looking across at one who had a horrible opinion.
You're entitled to have bad opinions,
that's what I said to you earlier, and I'm glad we can sort of get that out on. No, look, James McLean, I've been on the podcast for weeks of pre-season saying I changed my tune. He's really, really good in terms of his fitness. I just think what an example he's setting for.
I've got my for the people watching on YouTube, I have got one of my Wrexham stickers here.
There you go.
It's in reverse. I won't be able to see that.
It'll be right on. It'll be right when you
down with the crown. Yeah, just feels very relevant when I talk about James.
McLean, it's just more interesting now because I think you want him in midfield, really.
Yeah.
Revan is trying to get that left wing back spot. I still think he'll have a decent go in at left wing back, and it'll be Revan and kind of a lot of chopping changing because I think as bright as Revan looked going forward. The Villa fan we had on the podcast recently said that there's still that immaturity in him defensively, and so when you're coming up against coming up against Birmingham, you're coming up against Bolton. You are going to get found out.
And I'd say that as well in today's performance against Chelsea. It felt like the first 10-15 minutes he was quite bad, not bad defensively.
Revan now.
Yeah, he's been targeted defensively. There was one or two good recovery tackles in defence, but he'd been caught out in the first place. And the contribution he made for the assist for Bolton, of course, is like
brilliant. Yeah.
Was it his assist for Bolton?
For Bolton, yeah. For Bolton, yeah.
It was down the other side of the pitch, wasn't it? And again, as we know of most of our fullbacks, they are very good in the final third and maybe concerned about them in their own third. But
I enjoyed the initial view was like, oh, it's a great dummy by Ollie Palmer, and then we realised he just kicked air.
Oh yeah.
And, but we were like, oh, it's a great dummy. It
was such a good dummy that he made it look like he tried to have a shot himself.
It's really clever play that he just didn't shoot from 3 yards out and left it for Luke Bolton at the back post. But no, look, the 2 January signings, I think a lot's been said about them. The impact they made at the back end of last season, I think
Bournemouth Marriott sounds like a great hotel, doesn't it?
Bolton,
is it 5 stars? The Bournemouth Marriott. I mean, is that the one that those fans have booked for the game in August? Is that our first? Didn't you say some fans had booked it for Friday night?
That's the book the game. Yeah, I think a friend of mine's boss had booked. Not realised or seemingly didn't care about the TV picks and potential for being moved. So Friday night in Bolton, I think.
Yeah. So that's again, like I said, that's going to be interesting to see if we get tickets for that. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with the tour so far in terms of the fact that, like we said, both games, both performances, I feel we've deserved the draw. It's not been like we've been the underdogs and we've had to do a job on them and play a bit ugly at times, play on our strengths on the counter attack. Obviously, not having much ball as we'd like to see, but I feel we deserved a draw against both of them. So that is so encouraging, isn't it? Just to stay in these games because, again, heading into the new season, there's going to be a lot. It seems like there'll be a lot more games where we will have to work out of possession and not have the ball as much. And there'll be I think there'll be a lot more games this season where we take a point.
Right. I mean that's inevitable, isn't it? You're looking at teams spending huge sums of money. Looking at Birmingham in particular, but
I saw that as well. Someone tweeted this today that it was the League One transfer record. I think of the top 10 League One most expensive League One signings ever. I think 5 have already been made this summer.
Right. I
think 4 are like Birmingham. I think there's another one in there as well. But
Charlton, I think. Yeah,
Charlton, the striker they bought.
That was it. Yeah. So look, it's a really good test. I think we could have beaten Bournemouth. Really, we had a good chance late on. Palmer and Fletcher were 2-on-1, and with kind of flashbacks of Notts County away, and similar result. We didn't get the pass right, and could have done. Pre-season doesn't matter, but you'd hope in a league setting that would go in. I thought it was also really interesting. Last point for me on the kind of 2 games that we have seen Lewis Brunt in the middle of the back 3, which makes me wonder whether it is going to be Brunt or O'Connell, and it's going to be O'Connor and Max. It seems like the overwhelming pick. What we've seen so far in pre-season is Max and Aaron James as the right centre-back options, O'Connell and Brunt as your central centre-back options, and then O'Connor and Boyle as your left centre-back options. So that's really intriguing to me because I think we'd heard that Brunt could play on the left, or he's actually right-footed, he could play on the right. Maybe, after all, we're looking at the squad depth and everything, maybe it is an O'Connell or a Brunt. And he had a very, very tough assignment today, I thought, against Chelsea. It will get easier than that, doesn't it? It's not always Christopher and Kunku every week you're coming up against. So,
and again as well, that is probably the vision. But with injuries and the way the season goes,
exactly,
it's just to have that versatility. And there's still so many options across that back three, and supporters will have such different varying opinions on who the best back three is. So it's going to be interesting to see how that does develop as the season goes. And then we word on Max as well, that when McLean and Colwill had their altercation after 2 minutes, I think Max like the first player over to try to calm him down. It's like, this kid is just so senior already. Like, he is just a future Wrexham captain. Like, you can just tell, can't you, that this guy, he's just... I'm just in awe of watching Max Cleworth, because it just felt like when he first came to the team, I mean, we're always going to love youth team players, and we're always going to have that special bond with them, really, and that connection. And Max is one of those players who was very easy to champion and to be a cheerleader for. But I'm staggered by how good this guy is at football.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely blown away.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Tozer was on Foster's podcast saying, like, he got everything to get to the Premier League. It's just, you need a bit of luck along the way. You need really good development. You need to play a lot of games. I think he should be the first pick in the back three, really. I think any back three you pick should include him. He's got the physicality now. He's really... I remember speaking to Owen Jackson, the strength and conditioning coach, a while ago, and Max was not wire thin then, but he was more like me probably. But it wasn't quite this bad. But I mean, he was.
What's this? A cry for help?
No, this is a cry for help. This is, but he wasn't quite this bad. He was sort of between you and I, maybe. Or that makes you sound like Ollie Palmer. He's more than me. But basically, Owen was saying that he was really putting in the hours in the gym, but this cliche of, first one in and last one to leave. But like, no, last one to leave and then switch the lights off because there's no one there. He was really putting in the hours. You can see it in his physicality now.
He's on his way to being like me, isn't he? That's what you're trying to say. Yeah.
But when he was taking on assignments like John Akinde at Colchester and like not being bullied, and you've seen Aaron James on that same journey now. I watched him at Hanley against Tom Pope. Like, Tom Pope looked like he could eat Aaron James twice, and that would sort of half fill him. And again, that they're not being bullied, and that's a sign of the strength and conditioning work. So shout out to all those guys. But yeah, Max, and last point on pre-season, I think he is showing, just a reminder again, he's so cool on the ball. He can play the ball out. His runs up the pitch we saw last season at the racecourse, so many goals were started from his deep runs. I think he's got to be your first choice in a back three.
Yeah, I'd also say, because next season, there's obviously still the pressure to try and go up and try to be the best we can. But if there was going to be a season of transition and like a bridge season between, maybe like getting out of League One is probably now a 2-3 year plan. Like, it doesn't have to happen next season. That's fine. So there is even more reason to give Max the game time, the experience in League One next season. And look, if we have a progressive season but don't go up, and Max plays 30 games in League One, that's brilliant, because then his development is going to be, exponential. And this time next year, he'll be an even better centre back. So, it's exciting times. And I think that in terms of the player development and development of the club, it's a hit worth taking at times, because even if he might not always be the best suited, it's about giving that exposure, isn't it? So.
Right. I was awake. You were not. You were kind of in a ball. Just like
you thought I was awake.
I thought you were awake. You kind of
had night terrors.
You roll. You remember night terrors of the flight out and the tiny little pillow that was giving you nightmares to try and sleep on. I was awake trying to get the gold kit. It emerged. A picture of Max Clue within the kit emerged while we were on the plane, so it didn't see it. We landed, we saw the kit. Initial reaction, whether it was hallucinating or what, we both loved the kit. I still very much love the kit. Wolves-esque. I know we're playing Wolves under 21s this season, but really, really good kit. I know there was a lot of debate about the red one. I think I've seen the red twice now against Bournemouth and Chelsea. It looks fine to me. It's growing on me, that one, but the gold one I thought was an instant hit, and clearly fans agree with that.
Yeah, like I said, I think the red one for me is, like I said, sort of 6 out of 10. It's fine, but the gold one is still, I think, divisive for some fans, and still wearing a gold kit is quite a statement, isn't it? But I like it. It does look very shiny. I know, because obviously some Wolves kits sort of are more orange than gold, aren't they?
Right.
But I like it, and I like that we've done something a bit different. I think that this isn't me trying to be too much of a hater, but I do personally think that the kits would go to another level if we were if we had like Adidas or Nike.
Right.
You know, that's my personal opinion. That's my taste of fashion in that. So for Macron to make a kit like that, I'm surprised that they've made a kit that kind of nice. I love what they've done on the sort of shoulder, that little, I'm not even sure what you'd call it. It's usually like taper in
like
it.
the chevrons in it.
Yeah, but it's like a triangle, so it's not like a full taper down the whole sort of sleeve, which looks nice. The sort of detail of the shirt looks really nice as well. I like the gold and black. I think it is a nice shirt. Yeah, I'm just pleased that we've done something a bit different.
I just hope
it doesn't just feel like a generic template.
I just hope they come out to that. Is it Sam Sparrow who just does the black and gold song?
Yeah.
So instead of the regular walkout music. I mean, I don't know why we'd wear black and gold at home, but if we ever did, you know, put on a light show, just go full.
Light show.
Just go like full Premier League at that point. Black and gold. Sam Sparrow, fly him in. Yeah. But no, I love the kit. I think for a third kit, just do something completely random.
Yeah,
you know,
I think you got license to do it with a third kit, and I don't like a safe third kit really in that sense, because you know you wear it 2-3 times a season, so you might as well just go ballsy with it.
But what we also saw this week was the aptly named Raspberry Ripple training kit, or training at the top. Not a fan of that though.
Not for me, no. It's a bit to get. If I like younger me would have absolutely loved it, but now when I look at a football shirt, I just think, what am I going to wear that with? Do you know what I mean? Like as a kid, I'd just wear the most like crazy, like you just wear anything.
Yeah,
like that's when you wear your AstroTurfs to every party and social engagement you ever go to. And, like you're just wearing jeans and then a football shirt, but. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the training gear at the moment, but I really like the gold kit.
So we will see the gold kit first time in action. I think the women are using it against Portland Thorns Academy, which is Friday, I believe. Probably going into Saturday in the UK, I would imagine. So they'll see it then, and then I'm guessing now that the men will use it the following day against Vancouver. I feel like they did tell us this, and my memory is just eluded me. But then it's the black kit. I know people are waiting for that one as well. I've seen people messaging us saying they were, what are we looking at? Raspberry Ripple. I like it. We've been showing it again.
If you're watching online, YouTube, you can see a little picture of the Raspberry Ripple.
I mean, Seb Revan, he just looks much cooler than me.
And again, as we said on the last podcast as well, if George Evans wears it, it ultimately goes to a 10 out of 10 anyway.
A lot of these players are just a lot cooler than me. That's what I've realised.
Yeah. Well, that's the other point. That's kind of what I meant, that football kits can look amazing on players.
Yeah.
It's how does it look on you and me? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it a cry for help or what is it?
I'm a constant cry for help.
Yeah, we've said that 3 times on this podcast already. So running feet.
Somebody's watching will get it. But so gold kit, and I know people are waiting for the black kit as well, because people messaging me saying very expensive. I know what it's £60 per shirt.
Well, again, being in North America has made me realise that that's quite a bargain.
Right, a bargain. But
if anyone's watching YouTube, we convinced our host Jeff, who is a Whitecaps fan anyway, and obviously a Wrexham fan. He's bought a half and half scarf, which we know is a sacrilegious sin. But if there's ever to be an exception, I suppose you could make it for a preseason friendly when it is your 2 teams playing against you. I mean, you're still against this, aren't you?
Rich just he caved. Jeff caved to peer pressure from Rich. It was sad to see.
I think it'll be on the vlog, won't it?
Potentially, it was really sad to see actually that Rich just exerting all this power that he'd accrued over Jeff. But anyway, half and half scarf. I'm sure they'll.
As I will say, in their store,
in the Whitecaps store,
North American prices for stuff. Wow.
Yeah, we moan
$52, I think it was for a scarf.
Yeah,
Canadian dollars.
I mean,
£35.
Yeah, we moan about. It's dawned on both of us, I think, that we moan about prices when they're just insane.
Yeah, but there's different cultures. Isn't it? I think for UK fans, it's still justifiable to be worried about being priced out of the game, because the expendable income as well in the UK is different to what you have in North America, and the context of it all is different. But
I mean, the
culture here is $200 for a jersey. Yeah, sure, we'll pay that.
I mean, the big round in the UK is over a £10 add-on, so that's
a very justifiable.
It is.
We weren't going to go into that today.
No, we're not. But that's probably when we go back, because that obviously got the home game against Fleetwood. But what I was going to say about the kits, the black kit is going to be debuted against Fleetwood in that Jack Marriott derby or whatever we're calling it.
What no one's calling it.
What no one's calling it, but that's when the black kit will be out. It'll be out, I assume, a few days before, as they always are. Then all the kits will be out. I know Rob McElhenney's obsessed with black kits, so I'm thinking we're going to have them for a little while longer yet. Then all the kits are out, but I know lots of people messaging saying, wait for the 3 kits, then I'll decide. Lots of people have bought the red one, I gather, from the club. The gold one, from what I saw online, has been proven really popular.
I think it's a more popular choice initially, although some groups I'm in, aka the Manchester Reds, seem to hate it, which I respect their opinions highly as well.
For sure.
But we were saying today as well, weren't we? We had the Philly green away kit first
Green
season
away,
of the Dock. Will we ever get a Vancouver or a Canadian crossover Wrexham kit?
Like a Canucks
Yeah.
kit. I don't know. I feel like I'm skeptical about that because I feel like Rob is just a diehard. He probably has green blood. Like he's just like diehard Eagles, and I think his dream is. I think he's living the Wrexham dream because he wants to own the Eagles.
Yeah.
So like that, he's just like his passion project. And so an Eagles kit, I'm not surprised was one of his first requests. Like, let's get something like that.
I don't think Ryan's like, we need a Whitecaps kit,
no,
right
or a Canucks kit. I feel like if anything, probably more likely we have like a Deadpool dark red and black strip, which I'm sure Ryan's not too fussed on the kits, but Rob clearly very into his kits. Gold one is out. We love the gold one. So to anyone else in the Manchester Reds and the London Reds and whoever else doesn't like it, I like it. It's proof from me.
It's got your approval.
It's got my approval.
I guess the other thing is the Vancouver Whitecaps game this weekend. Like I said, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a decent attendance again, I think. Probably like 20,000 or so, maybe. It's a, 50,000? 58,000 capacity stadium.
Basically got a producer off screen now that can just like fact check we don't have this all the time, do we? We've just got fact checks coming in through our ears and really good stuff. Rich can just call off to the camera and nobody can see
whatever
I
want.
Do whatever you want. Just order fact
so
checks.
That'll be a decent turnout again Saturday. We went to the stadium today and on the front of the stadium it said next home game and it wasn't the Wrexham game.
Tijuana, Club
Tijuana next month or something, wasn't it? So since we've been in Vancouver, like honestly, this isn't me trying to be disparaging because there's been the Wrexham game today. You've got this Festival of Light fireworks show we went to, and there's Pride this weekend as well. There's so much going on in Vancouver. I've not seen any Whitecaps Wrexham promotion yet, but I expect that to sort of build up on Thursday and Friday. Producer Jeff's got his hand in the air.
At the C bus, you missed the advertisement, but there was an advertisement.
There was an advertisement on the C bus.
There you go. They also were advertising it on the San Francisco ad boards. I mean,
today at the game.
Today at the game. I think we'll see. Like
20,000. I say like half full stadium.
Like in a lot of places, I think there was
a massive stadium.
North Carolina, we went to a really concentrated place. It was Chapel Hill's very small at College Place. It was all Wrexham and a little bit Chelsea. Then I went to LA and was expecting the same thing and realized actually there's a lot more going on and it's like not all about Wrexham.
Believe it or not. There's a world outside of Wrexham.
Believe it or not, everyone in LA didn't stop in their tracks. And also in LA, we were told that do not wear red because that's I mean, people can look that up themselves. You don't wear red in LA. I'll leave it at that. Jeff gets what I'm saying, so we're all good. Okay. But anyway, so it was hard to cut through, in my like white Wrexham polo. But in Vancouver, I don't know. I've been to Vancouver before. It's a very cool city. I love the blend, like the mix of city and nature. How are you finding it?
Yeah, it was good. We've had a very nice day, haven't we? Actually,
yes.
Like I said, the 34,000 step walk we're on this morning, which was a serious hike through the park and stuff.
We were guided into a forest, sort of off the beaten track, and I thought that was it. It was the
type of sort of wilderness you don't see in Wrexham, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, there were flower beds. And,
there's flower beds,
no cactus,
cactuses. We went to Cactus Club though, didn't we?
We did
for lunch.
We did.
One Wrexham striker would love it. There.
Yeah. But no, it was a good. Like I say, we walked around the seawall. I mean, we were doing the daily videos, and maybe there were people listening to this that are coming out to Vancouver from San Francisco, or that have also done Santa Barbara. I know some are going to Portland. I think Caitlin Olsen and Rob will probably be at that Portland game. They were doing a lot of promotion for it. So later in the week, there's a big event on Saturday as well at the Pint, organised by the Red Horde. He's done a lot of work to get that on, and then the fan zone and everything. So I think it'll pick up, on the game day, but this is a city that's going about its business. The celebration of light that we saw,
that was crazy.
Amazing. And if all of those people turned out at BC Place, it'd be full. I'm sure.
We were saying that on the way out. Like, if we can give all these people the podcast recommendations and a QR code to listen, then this will be set for retirement, basically.
Yeah.
But the Vancouver game. What do you want to see? Because Bournemouth, most players played 45 minutes. Today against Chelsea, most of them played an hour.
Well,
it was a reverse. Wasn't it?
It was a reverse.
They both played so players have now played.
So 60 and 30, wasn't it?
Yeah,
60 and 30.
Basically, most players on tour now played 90 minutes of football, haven't they?
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to be handled this weekend? Do you think it'll be 45 for each again, and everyone then leaves North America and play the exact same amount of time? Or do you think that you play almost your strongest team for an hour this weekend?
So Parky's big on the numbers. He always talks about like the data. He loves to say at the end in these sort of post-match interviews that the data came back really good. We looked at the first half team, the data came back really good. So I know people like Ryan Murray, Owen Jackson, people like Richard Hill, that all these sort of sports science guys, they are looking constantly on the iPad. You can see them on the bench. They're looking at the iPad, looking at the running stats and everything, and they're trying to get players to a certain number. Let's get Elliot Lee to X amount of kilometres or whatever, and then job done for him. Let's get Dobson to such and such. Fleetwood, you would think that has to be the team that's going to go into the Wycombe game, more or less.
Give them like an hour or so against Fleetwood, do you think?
I would be looking for some to get 90 against Fleetwood, because I think
do you not think that's an injury risk ahead of the new season though, or fitness?
I think you want players to know they can get through 90. And look, I'm always a believer that injuries can happen. I've heard and read stories about some of the freakiest injuries, that can happen. So I'm sure that they won't be worried about, or they won't be fearful of injuries happening. I would think that if you're a potential starter against Wycombe on the opening day on the 10th of August, I would suspect you're going to get an hour, 70 minutes maybe. Because you do want to build up your starters now, because you want to kind of temper up.
Are we even going to go down this tangent now then? Like right now today, 24th of July, is it? 24th of July?
Right now today in Jeff's living room.
Yeah. Who's your team for Wycombe?
And that's on the basis that we don't sign this striker that we think we're going to get.
Yeah.
We can't talk mystery
team
striker.
Today, on today's
team
roster.
Today, I would say roster. He's been here for 2 days. We're onto roster, which is great. I love that. I would go Arthur in goal. I would go. It's not going to be right. It's my team. I would go Barnett, Max, O'Connor, and I would go probably McLean for the opener at left wing back. Revan's going to come into his own, but I think McLean's bound to get the armband, and I've got other picks in midfield that I would want to pick. I would go Evans. In fact, I would do. I'm going to stick with 3-5-2. Evans, James Jones, and Elliot Lee.
No Cannon.
I like James Jones. I like a lot of what James Jones offers, and I think I'm going to pat you on the back here and say that you said on the previous podcast that it isn't always about the best players that will make the same midfield. So I think James Jones has got the best engine of anyone in that midfield there,
especially start the season as well.
Yeah, I just think he's immensely valuable, and even though he didn't sort of stand out today, I always don't want him to stand out. He's not the player that needs to stand out. So I would play him, and then up top, I would probably go Fletcher. I just think like technically, like when he's even though he's probably a better finisher of a game, I think just a season opener he'd be really good. And you'd have to go Marriott. I like Sam Dolby. I think he's played really well in the Bournemouth game. Only got 20 tonight or whatever it was. But I think you've got to go with Marriott. You've got to try and build him up and give him the game time. I spoke a lot about Jordan Davies. Now he came in and then 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then he was out for 3 games, and you'd get another 5 minutes. You can't build up any rhythm doing that, and so Marriott has to get 4
starts. Really,
yeah, 4 starts. You don't have to get 4 90s, but you have to get 4 70s or 75s.
Yeah, because we just need to definitively know, really, is he good enough or not?
Yeah.
So you've got to give him 4 competitive starts and just see, can he do it or not? He can have Sheffield United off. He can have any of the.
But it's going to be Wycombe, Bolton, Reading, and Peterborough. I think that might be the first month, and then you get to the end of the window, you get to deadline day. We saw the late deals for Evans, late deal for Okonkwo, so there will be I'm almost certain there'll be a striker signed, unless Marriott's red hot, and unless he rips it up. Maybe they go, you know what? But I still think they're going to look to move Waters. I still think they're going to look to move Bickerstaff, potentially Dolby. Although I would hope that maybe he's the one that's kept around and can prove himself. But they are going to move a few. And they're going to want bodies, and I think at least one up top. We're hearing talks about another central attacking midfielder, McAtee linked, and so they're clearly looking at bodies. Will Evans, I think, there's been a name mentioned, and you quite like that one at Newport.
I guess
so we'll see, won't we, as the weeks go on. But I think Marriott's got to start and just give him every chance. You have to give him a go, because Waters never really got that.
Well, I was going to say 2 things on this. One is obviously once we get back from tour next week, I think the players flying back Sunday, aren't they? Just after the Vancouver game. We would then expect exits to accelerate, because we don't need as big a squad for the Fleetwood game and then go into the new season. That's when you expect the loan exits or opponent exits to go up a notch. On the transfer rumours, McAtee and Evans, they're the 2 most prominent names at the moment. McAtee, I think we'd all bite our hands off to have someone like him in the squad. He's a brilliant player. Someone like Will Evans had an excellent season in League 2. Would you have any concerns about? Because I love his story. I love his background. Obviously, the Welsh Premier stuff. I love
great story.
The goal he scored against United in the FA Cup last season was brilliant. That was such a good moment. But signing someone who's had a great season in League 2, like Evans, there's always going to be the risk of is he a one-season wonder. With this recruitment, would you be concerned about us buying players like Will Evans who have maybe not proven at the level we think we not only need to be now and want to get to? Because if you sign a striker this summer, they've not only got to be League One ready, they've probably got to be Championship ready. So is someone like Will Evans maybe a little bit of a risk, considering which sounds ridiculous, considering how good a season he had last season?
Yeah, yes, in short to that. But I would say that you've seen that shift in transfer policy. So you've gone for Rev, and I know Rev played with Rotherham, but I mean, Rotherham did get relegated. I know he was a young player, it's not his fault, but they are looking at that younger model of play. You're betting on potential. I still think they're holding really high hopes for someone like Barnett, who we have no idea how they're looking in League One. Lewis Brunt, we've seen him play well at League Two. Leicester never really made the grade there. He's another that could be really, really good, and we'll see how he gets on. Max, we think, is destined for greatness, but we'll have to prove it again in League One. Arthur, we think, is destined for greatness as well. So, someone like Will Evans, you just never know. I mean, you get these stories of people that can get from non-league to. I mean, Jamie Vardy's one people always go to, and he went straight to the Championship from non-league. A little bit different in style, a little bit more rugged, but. Yeah, look, if they go for Will Evans, I think they firmly believe that he has the potential to really elevate his game. And look, strikers are only as good, I think, as the service they get.
Yeah, so, especially for him to score that many goals in that Newport team. And I'm also, because we were chatting as well, just off the record, about how we thought Langstaff would get on at Millwall.
Right.
And I'm very much a believer that if you can score goals at one level, you can know where the back of the net is. It's such a confidence thing, scoring goals, isn't it? To be in the right place, reading the game well. So basically, Rob said at half-time today, he said, in Parky we trust, in Phil we trust, going forward, let's just see what happens, with the journey going forward. I think that's the same as well for the rest of the window. Yeah. Like, Parky's track record so far has been amazing when it comes to new recruits. I think it's going to be absolutely fine. Sorry about the iPhone.
It's my emails. I'm just
popular, aren't you?
I'm nobody will email me basically for the next 12 hours until probably they won't email me for another week until we do the podcast again, and then usually messages and emails come through non-stop. So it shows that maybe it's robryanred@gmail.com. Maybe it is, but look, I think the last thing I'll say on the window is Parky's been very vocal, more than I've ever seen him in any previous window.
Yeah.
In that he's saying this isn't. It was really strong. I don't want to misquote him, but it was along the lines of like, we're not that close of a finished squad to where we need to be.
Yeah.
We want a challenge, which is what the ownership will want and what everyone will want to hear.
That's what
but we need more. We need, and the way he's talking is if we don't need one more, we need like 2-3 more. Yeah. And that suggests a fair few could be going out, and maybe loans, like we said, agreed, but you don't do it before the tour, because what happens if something crazy happens on tour? So, I think it could be a really exciting end to the window, actually.
Yeah. But again, like I said, I think it is because also in Parker's quotes, I think it is because he's almost setting us up for this is now a 2-3 year project to get out of League One.
Right.
It's not an instant one hit thing. Like National League was, we've got one season to get out of here. It ends up taking 2. League 2 was, we've got one season to get out of here. We did it. League 1 is, I think, you've got 3 seasons or something to build a squad, stabilize, get the experience, and then get out there. So we'll see what happens. But speaking of transfers, Nath, you can be a manager yourself.
Yes.
Fantasy football. You love it. I loathe it.
He hates it, but I'm going to make him do it because we're going to talk about it every single week on the podcast. EFL Fantasy. If you haven't seen our tweet or Instagram, I even made a TikTok or reel. I was shoving it down everybody's throat that you will join our mini league, EFL Fantasy. The way it works, 7 players, so slightly different to, I know a lot of people who played Fantasy Premier League. That's a full squad, full bench and everything, and that's got a budget, and all that. This is very different. I think it's, in a way, I was a bit surprised originally, but this is a good way to do it.
It's like a completely different all your game. Preconceptions of Premier League fantasy football is different to that. It's not a 14-man squad. Yeah. It's a 7-man squad.
7 players that you can change every single week. You've got unlimited transfers every single week. You can use players as many. So if you want to pick,
but it's from the 3 tiers of the EFL. So there's 72 teams to choose from the players. So you've got a massive
22-man squads. My maths isn't good enough for 72 times 22, but lots of players basically. You can choose them all over the course of a season if you want to, if you so desire. You can choose players as many times as you want. I think that's key. You aren't limited to only picking Paul Mullin, say 5 times, or only picking Alfie May. And, look, you might have friends that support teams in the Championship or League Two. You can mix and match these players. And I know that Wrexham have seen a lot of League Two last season, so they will know the players in that division. Championship gets a lot of TV time, some ex-Premier League teams in there. So it'll be really, really good fun. And also, you pick 7 players every week, and then you pick 2 teams to win.
So that's your bonus points come from
bonus
that.
Points. So, but you can only choose those teams 5 times over the course of a season.
Yeah, so, which is it's just another rule. Once you stop playing, it will make sense to you. But every week you have 2 picks to be your bonus teams, and if they win, you get extra points. But be careful. You can't just choose Wrexham every single week because you only get 5.
And also, I know we've seen it. A lot of people picking. I mean, I'm sure not any of our listeners. I think they won't be this foolish. But
he's like the 5th most picked player is Paul Mullen at the moment, despite being ruled out for the first month or 2 of the season.
Yes. So don't be like those people. I know people are very excited. They've seen probably the doc and they think Paul Mullen's definitely going to bag loads of goals. Hold off on that because it's not like fantasy Premier League where you need to sort of plan ahead and get your transfers
in. It's just
in.
that 1 week.
Just that 1 week. You can change it all up. You've got a captain, you've got a vice captain, all that good stuff. But we've got a mini league. What we're going to do as well, the winner of our mini league will get a very, very odd looking trophy, I'm sure.
Yeah, they will get a prize.
There will be a prize. We'll engrave an inaugural winner of the Rob Ryan Red mini league. I will put the code on the screen. I'm sure if I've got the ability to do so with my...
Have you got a team name?
I went with a pinch of salt.
Okay, I like that. See, I'm usually Feyenoord.
Which
is one of the best puns of all time.
That's good. We also had one that someone did just take the pod title last week. Joe just used That's So Revan. I Want to Dance with Sam Dolby was another.
That's good.
Yeah, that was very good. One was just called James McLean. I don't think it's the man himself, but nail on head. One just said aha. So there's lots of names in there. Borussia, what was another one? Borussia Munchen Flapjack or something. Yeah, that was Gaz. So lots of team names in there. Don't get Feyenoord before Rich does. If Feyenoord, even if you're going to use that one. But you can join it. The mini league code is in the description and it'll be on the screen. And if you want a direct link, that'll also be in the description. But EFL Fantasy, you got time. I'm probably gonna have to mention it on one more. Have I got one more podcast for the season?
Yeah, I think so.
One more.
There might even be a special spin-off podcast just for that.
Maybe. Well, look, EFL. We'll try and help you along the way. I want to win. I'm very competitive when it comes to fantasy football, but we'll give you tips along the way. We'll flag up if any Wrexham
finishing
players.
Above me will not be an achievement because I will be that guy who loses his password after week 2 because he just doesn't care anymore.
Finishing above me, I hope will be an achievement. I hope I'm pretty good at it, but we'll see. I think it's very interesting. 72 teams to pick from. Lots and lots of players that you could pick all Championship players, could pick all League Two players. But anyway, we are in Jeff's apartment, taking of his living room. We very much. How long have we been going there? 40.
Yeah, and we're also sleep deprived and have to we've got to step maybe another hour and a half, 2 hours to get these tickets as well, haven't we? So
you want a 2-hour podcast basically, but no, look, we've got lots of things planned as well. We should tell people about the daily vlogs again because we've got a very exciting one coming up. So this will be out on Thursdays. It normally is if you listen on Spotify or watching on YouTube. The tourism board are they're not going to be able to live up to Jeff's sort of 34,000. Now that's just unrivaled, but they're going to take us out and about and to sort of see more sights of Vancouver.
There's a lumberjack show which sounds quite homoerotic.
Have you ever? I don't think I've ever seen a lumberjack show. No, never in my life. So
I think it could be good.
We'll have to go in with high expectations. I mean, you've really sold it now. You've really sold it. Lumberjack show.
George Evans.
He has. Producer Jeff's just now in his hysterics at this homoerotic lumberjack show. And then what else? Seaplane and
we fly over Vancouver. We do some other experiences. A gondola ride or something. There's also free food and drink as well.
Yeah, so they're gonna push the boat out. Hopefully, people have enjoyed the videos. I know we got lots of comments. All the comments were basically about Rich. I was quite jealous for the first video. Everyone very much.
I'm gonna say this on record now because there's this perception that I'm very moody. One, I was very ill. One, I was very tired. And number three. Today, I said to you, do you want me to do some filming for the vlog? And you said, no, it's okay.
Just take him away.
I said, if you want me to do my fair share of recording, I can.
But it's basically
like, we're saying, no, it's okay.
It's basically like shooting a documentary of Rich, really. You know what I mean? He's like, I took some sort of, anyone who follows on Instagram, I took like some really candid pictures of Rich.
There's not a single picture of you on this
channel. No, and that's typical of my trips normally. Yeah. I'm sort of behind the camera. No, look, it's been really, really good so far. I know people will be getting in on Friday and Saturday. We are just pretty much Saturday. We'll be at the Pint event. You will be able to say hello. We will be there from, I think, midday it is. So we'll be there. We'll be having a lot of good fun there. And the fan zone, I know that was good fun last time with the turf and Wayne, everyone. So all the people that are making the pilgrimage down from Santa Clara, maybe you listen to this on Thursday morning. All the best, safe travels. And anyone who isn't there, we will try and give you a flavour of it. Vancouver's been very nice to us, very good. Although we probably, if there's any more sort of like grim, overcast weather, it's definitely our fault.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was miserable.
we got here glorious sort of conditions on the beach. You don't get that very often back in Manchester or Wrexham.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's been nice. And yeah, again, thank you so much for tuning in, whether that's been audio or visual. Like we said, big, a big push for us to go onto YouTube stuff for the vlogs and stuff. So if you're not watching this podcast, maybe go over to YouTube and watch one of the vlogs. That would really help us out. If you can leave a like and subscribe over there. I forgot to say thank you to Red 10 People Development at the start of the podcast.
I'm forgetting a lot of things
because I was so giddy. Maybe it's because I sort of joked about ditching them on the vlog, which didn't go down well.
No, you wanted to. Anyone who didn't see that vlog, Rich suggested that maybe Hugo Boss should become our new premium sponsor. So no, we're stuck. We're not stuck. We're with Red 10. stuck. I feel like
this hole's getting deeper.
We're so delusional at this point in our sleepless nights. But no, thank you very much to Red 10 People Development. Couldn't do it without your support. You are one of the very, very big reasons that we're able to come on trips like this one. And Hypnotic the Stings. I'm taking Richie's job away from him now because he's so tired. He's just trying to conserve energy.
All this vlogging you want to do, mate. All yours, mate.
All the vlogging. Thank you very much to Hypnotic. And if you want to get in touch with us, or if you want to write for the website, or loads of different things when we get back to the UK, but robryanred@gmail.com and robryanred on all the socials, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, YouTube, I don't know, wherever, Facebook even. So yeah, until the Whitecaps, if you see us there, daily blogs, or we'll be back before the Fleetwood game, end of the tour.
Yeah. Fleetwood Matt Kilhenny, mate. That's next week's podcast title.
Right. Probably.
Take care. We'll see you again next time.
The Wrexham AFC podcast with Nathan Salt and Rich Bay.